Hey there everyone, I'm going to be previewing the Lich trial, which is the next trial due to come to global. I did it previously with some really future units like Bards and Warrior of Light, so I'm going to be doing it this time with a little bit of a slower team that can, more explain the fight. I'm only using units that are available on global, with the exception of Charlotte. She is due within the next month on global, so she is going to be here real soon, possibly even before the Lich trial is available. So if you're having trouble with the trial, you can wait for Charlotte, or you can sub her out for a different party member. So we're going to be using Wilhelm for passive provoking, and he's got the manufactured Nethicite to handle the death attacks, and I'll be explaining those as we go in the fight. You want the whole team with some resistance to fire, ice, and lightning, and most of the status immunities. The statuses used are poison, blind, silence, paralyze, and disease. Fina is going to be the healer with resist buffs, mana regen. She can entrust, that's really useful for this, re-raise, etc. And she's on the Phoenix Esper with auto medication learned, and we've got echo screens and remedies equipped in the item inventory. That's very important because even though she is immune to silence, Lich ignores that and silences you anyway. And Automed will cure that for free, allowing her to use her action to do other things in the round instead of having to cure herself with like Prime Heal or something. Charlotte is going to be the magical tank. She provides magical buffs, mitigation, spirit buffs, defense buffs, and she's just really tanky in general. So that's why we're using her. Now you could use like on global if you don't have her, or if she's not out yet, we can use like Beryl, Bosch, Chow, White Knight, Noel, any magical tank you want. But if you're not using her, you do want to find a way to fit mitigation on your team instead. Arn is going to be the breaker. He's got some resistance, again, fire, ice, and lightning, status immunity. And I gave him Calamity Border so he can help resist buff on off turns, which will be very useful. Axstar is going to be our DPS. Now your DPS, you need to go survival build. You don't want just pure damage. So you'll notice I've given him 625 spirit by giving him, like on JP I'm giving him Citrus TMR. And he's got the Blood of the Dragon and the Vishnu Vest, which gives him 55 fire, ice, and lightning resist. That's very important, because if your DPS dies, they can't deal any damage. They have to be able to survive. And we're going to be using a friend Axstar. Gonzi set his up, same thing. High spirit, fire, ice, and lightning resist, status immunity. That's the most important. That's more important than damage is survival. And the final thing I wanted to mention is you'll notice no one is using Holy Element. There's two ways to do this fight. You can either not use Holy Element, in which case the boss will use stronger attacks of fire, ice, and lightning that cannot be covered, because he imperils you first every single turn that you can't you can't block. The trade-off is then the boss will not use stop and he won't use his dark attacks. If you do use Holy Element, the boss will not imperil you to fire, ice, and lightning, so those attacks will be weaker and easier to survive. On the other hand, he'll be using stop on your team, and your magic tank will need dark resistance as well. But because I don't have Folco on the JP server, I can't handle that stop, so I'm going like the harder way by not using Holy Element. If I did have Folca, I would use Holy Element and prevent that imperil, and then I would just ignore the stop with Folca. Anyway, here is the ambush, which is the silence. You'll notice Fina right here, boom. Phoenix cured Fina's silence. So even though Fina's not going to need to use anything this turn, she's going to use a resistance buff and Shining Cheer. But she could cast Re-Raise or whatever, but she doesn't need to. So Arn is going to break the boss. Charlotte's going to magical cover. Now on the boss's first turn, he's going to cast Death on Wilhelm. So first of all, we're going to get the Axstars. We're going to imperil and unlock their cooldown. Actually, we're going to do cooldown and then imperil. That actually buffs first. So because the boss is going to death on his first turn, and Wilhelm is passively provoking, we're going to have Wilhelm just use Nethicite to absorb that death, so he won't die. Now, because this team's mitigation is on Charlotte, and her Limiverse is not currently ready, We have no mitigation right now, but thankfully phase 1 of Lich is relatively tame. So we don't really need mitigation. And there's the death, but the Nethicite avoided the death. Alright, so turn 2, there is not going to be any death. I actually made the wiki page for Lich, and it has his turn rotations on the wiki page, the Gamepedia wiki. So you can check that out if you want to know when deaths are coming. But this turn there won't be a death. So we're going to go ahead with Fina. We're going to fill limit, and we're going to mana regen. So that gave Charlotte her limit burst. So she's going to use her limit. So now we have general mitigation from the team of 50%. Wilhelm's just going to guard. And Axe Stars, let's see, we did triple cast last turn. So now we're going to imbue ourselves, give a power up, and chain. Imbue, power up, and chain. Now I'm not 100% familiar with Axe Stars rotation, so I don't use him too often on JP anymore, and I don't have him on global. So, for those of you Axe Star fans, if I'm doing his rotation wrong, my apologies. But, whatever. So anyway, so Auron will just guard, because he doesn't... Oh, I should have used resistance with Auron, or Calamity Border. Whoops. That's fine. Phase 1 is really, really minor. Or really weak. Yeah, so when the boss dies, he actually resurrects himself as Phase 2, and then he'll do that again for the 3rd time. You gotta kill Lich 3 different times. And he's got mitigation currently, as you see, from the ambush. So we're dealing... His mitigation is only 50%, so it's not too bad. It can be mostly ignored. But, it is... lowering the damage somewhat. Alright, I'm not going to worry about Calamity Border in Phase 1. I'll just have Auron jump in this chain and help deal extra damage. Before I do that, let's have Charlotte give us a mitigation buff. And let's chain. Okay. Now we're chaining fire. Lich is actually naturally weak to fire. So Axe Stars in dealing with fire is quite helpful. So Fina will Shining Cheer, and she'll do mana regen. The Shining Cheer just fills the limit gauge a little bit. And turn 3 is a death turn. So we're going to use Wilhelm to Nethicite to absorb that death. Okay. The fight looks really easy, and it really is in Phase 1 and Phase 2. It's Phase 3 where the fight gets serious. Alright, so this turn the boss is going to cast Regenerate Bones. There's the death we're Nethiciting. Regenerate Bones cures all his breaks and gives him a magic buff. So he buffed his magic and cured his breaks. He doesn't cure his imperils though, thankfully. So if we weren't going to kill Lich right here, which we obviously will, we would go ahead and dispel the boss and re-break him with Auron. But because we're going to just kill the boss right here, obviously with Axe Stars, we're not going to worry about it. Alright, oh, I just realized I should have cast Charlotte on first. Whoops. Okay, so there the boss is dead. It's kind of like the Terran Knight. He doesn't actually die until we end the turn. So we'll use Charlotte to fill limit gauge. I'm going to entrust over to Charlotte, because I should have done her limit first, but it's fine. Auron's going to cast a Calamity Border for us. And the boss on his turn, when he resurrects himself, he's going to do that preemptive again, which includes the silence. This time, we can Nethicite to absorb that silence. Nethicite is a super useful material for this fight. Now, if you don't have the Nethicite, the fight's going to be a lot harder for you. It can still be done, but it will be hard. And I'll find a way to demonstrate on Global how to do it without Nethicite. But for JP, I need all the help I can get. So he did the silence again, but only Fina really matters for silence, and we absorbed it. Even if we didn't absorb it, it would have been cured by Phoenix, but that does consume Echo Herbs, and I'd rather save those. Not that we really need it, the fight's not going to go on that long. But anyway, so this is turn 5. Turn 5, I'm looking at my chart. Turn 5 is not a death turn, so it doesn't matter. But because the boss resurrected himself, he's got mitigation again, and he doesn't have any breaks. So we need to apply breaks. Axe Stars will re-imperil, re-imbue themselves, and we'll do this 48 MP chain. Let's see. So we're going to re-imperil, re-imbue, And, oh, well, Axar, your rotation is confusing. So we're going to re-imbue, re-imperil, and this for the mod boost. Alright, let's wait for orange chain to finish, I don't want to break this chain. Alright. Charlotte is actually going to cast a limit fill buff to hopefully fill Fina's limit up a little bit. And let's go ahead and chain these guys. Get some crystals for Fina. And the boss does have mitigation, but again, the mitigation is only 50%. And he's actually not all that tanky compared to a lot of bosses. So even though he's got mitigation up, it's still pretty deep, pretty squishy. So we're going to have Fina, we're going to do a mana regen, and we're going to do a Shining Cheer, just to fill some more limit. Turn 5 is not a death turn, so we'll just guard Wilhelm. Okay, so this is going to be a relatively tame turn again. Yeah, this is one of those fights where if everything goes right, the fight looks easy. But if you make one mistake, like the whole thing comes toppling down like a house of cards. It's really, like there we go. Oh, seriously? I forgot. He doesn't death on turn 5. I totally forgot. But he always deaths the first turn of a new body. Seriously? Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying. I lost Wilhelm. And now turn 6 is another death, and Wilhelm can't raise and cast Death Sight on the same turn. So this is... Here we go. Now things are going wrong. Unbelievable. Okay, whatever. I'll deal with it. So we're going to raise Wilhelm. Wilhelm is passive provoking. If nothing else in this fight, you absolutely want a passive provoker. That is hugely important. So there's going to be a death again. It's going to kill Wilhelm. Well, we have to give Wilhelm mitigation. So let's go ahead and limit burst with Charlotte. What are we on? Turn 6? Turn 6, the boss is only going to death and nothing else really too dangerous. Okay. Yeah. Let's have Axstars use their limit, which is going to unlock triple cast. We might even push the threshold. Oh, no, we didn't. That's fine. And let's resist buff for Wilhelm because he died and lost all his buffs. Really sucks. Alright. So there's the ice attack. The elemental attacks cannot be covered. The fire, ice, and lightning, those ignore cover. So that's why the whole team went from resist. There's the death I knew was coming again. So irritating, and he's not re-raised either. So next is up turn 7. Turn 7, the boss is going to cure his breaks, but he's not going to death. Okay, there's no death on turn 7, so that's good. So let's have Fina resurrect Wilhelm and do a resistance buff for him. Alright, so Auron's Limit Burst is not ready, as you see, and it's obviously not going to fill up this turn. So we're going to have Auron use his 90 MP skill to unlock his 70% break for next turn. We're going to have Charlotte do a limit fill buff, because we got to get limits back up soon. And Axstars will... We're going to do their burst turn here. Let's see, 90, and then double. I think this is the turn where Axstar does really high burst. Now the boss does have mitigation still. You see one more turn of mitigation. So it's not going to do... It's going to do half as much as it would otherwise. But maybe we can push him to the final threshold. I'd like to push him below 30 here, if possible. Maybe? Oh, we did. Outstanding. So we pushed through 2 thresholds. We pushed through the 65 and the 30. Now on this boss, pushing a double threshold is a good thing. Because instead of doing 2 thresholds at once, he completely forgets about the first one. So that 65% threshold will never happen. He's only going to do the 30 one. And all that is it refreshes its mitigation, and it gives us a damage over time effect, which is not a big deal. We're using Fina to give a regeneration buff, and it counteracts that damage over time. Also, our team has good spirit across the board, including the Axstars, so the damage over time doesn't really hurt us that bad. But turn 7, the boss did cast Regenerate Bones. So you'll notice he cured his breaks, he gave himself a magic buff, and he has mitigation again. Now, I think we're still in that burst mode for Axstar, so I think Axstar can push the boss to dead right here. So once again, we don't need to break the boss if we can push him all the way to dead. So let's try that and see what happens before I do anything else. We are triple casting. Oh, yeah. So we killed phase 2 Lich. Okay, so we're going into the final phase, which is the hardest phase. Alright, unfortunately, we still don't have Orange Limit Burst. So I'm going to have to entrust that Limit Burst over to Orin, because we really need it. I wish I had Charlotte's Limit Burst, too. I don't have hers either. Really unfortunate. So let's do a Calamity Border. And we're going to have Wilhelm, Nethicite, to absorb the silence when the boss resurrects himself. Alright, so the boss resurrects himself for the final time. Now we're in the last phase. Here's the AoE Imperil Silence. But again, Wilhelm's Nethicite absorbed that silence. So the boss cured his breaks, and he has mitigation again. So we need to break the boss with Arm. This is turn 9. This is going to be a death turn. Actually, this is a death turn no matter what. He always deaths on the first turn of his new body. I forgot that last round. It kind of threw me off for a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. So Axstars are going to chain and re-imbue themselves. Or actually, no, we're going to imbue. I'm doing this wrong. Alright, so we're going to do this. We're going to that, and then chain. Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so the Axstars are really running low on mana. I haven't had a time to use Fina to regenerate mana. Alright, here we go. So let's go ahead and limit with Charlotte. Now Fina is going to... I need a mana regen buff. And I'm going to shine... Yeah, we need Shine and Cheer for the regeneration as well. Alright, so let's do all this. Turn 9... Oh, it's the death. And because the death is coming, we're going to Nethicite. Okay, there we go. So we're on track now. Oh, let me mark this down. So turn 9 is the first. I'm going to mark 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because the boss is on a 4-turn repeating schedule for this phase. So turn 9 is his first turn of the rotation. On his 4th turn of the rotation, he's going to be doing death. Okay, so there we go. There's plenty of deaths in phase 3. It's really a pain to keep track of. That was the turn 9 death, which also overlapped with the new body death. Alright, so turn 10 is going to be nothing important. Turn 10 is almost irrelevant. So we're going to, let's see, imperil. Oh, we already imperiled the boss. So we're going to imbue, power up, and chain. Let's see, we're going to imbue, power up, and chain. When is the boss cure? The boss cures his breaks next turn. Okay. So, there's no death this turn. Okay, so actually, Arn is going to Calamity Border. We're going to have Charlotte do a mitigation buff for the team. Wilhelm with his guard. We're good on Limit Burst. I'm going to do even more mana regen with Fina. And I'm going to do a Prime Heal. Now, I know Fina can't dual cast on Global, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit. But Folka is a way better choice. I'd much rather have Folka for this encounter. I just don't have her on JP. I'll definitely be using Folka on Global, though. Well, probably. I don't know. Never say definitely. But I'll probably use Folka as my healer on Global. And I'll probably do the Holy Element strategy on Global as well. Because I think it's a little bit easier. Alright. So the next threshold is at 65%. And on this phase, on this version, the boss always does a death every threshold. He doesn't do that in phase 1 and 2, but phase 3 he deaths on thresholds on top of everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and push this threshold. Is the boss's mitigation still up? It is. Alright. So I'm going to push this threshold. Is our cooldown available? It is. Okay, so we're going to push hard here. And we're going to try to push the boss as far as we possibly can. How is his breaks looking? His breaks, 2 turns. He's going to cure his breaks this turn, actually. So let's have Orange just refresh Calamity Border for the resistance. Yeah, let's chain the Axe Stars. Okay. So we're going to push the threshold. I mean, it'd be nice to push all the way to 30%, but that's not going to happen. He's got mitigation up still. Yeah, no way. No way. Okay, that's fine. We pushed one threshold. He's curing his breaks this turn. Alright, so we're going to do a resist buff with Charlotte. Fina is going to do... We're going to keep that mana regen going. And we're going to do a Shining Cheer for the health regen. And because we pushed a threshold, he's going to death. Normally he wouldn't death on this turn, but this is the threshold we push. So we're going to absorb that death with Wilhelm's Nephesite. Alright, there's the death. And the boss put the damage over time effect on us again. And here's his regular turn. Yeah, the boss does not end his round on thresholds. Thresholds are in addition to everything else happening in that turn. Okay. Now this turn is going to be a really irritating turn. This is going to be the boss is going to use death. Because it's turn 12, he uses death. It's also the 4th round of his turn, of his rotation of this phase. He's going to do a second death. And if we push the boss below 30%, he'll do a 3rd death. I don't think we're built to handle 3 deaths in a turn. Let me think for a second. If he does the first death we can Nephesite. We can actually re-raise the second death. Wilhelm will come back, and then he'll have no mitigation for the round. The boss will do his attacks that round, and then he'll end the turn with a Dispel and a 3rd death. I think I can handle 3 deaths this turn. I think I can. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. We're gonna go. We're going for it. All right. So let's AoE re-raise and resist buff. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So everyone's re-raised, just in case things go poorly. The boss cured his breaks, didn't he? He did. I'm gonna dispel the boss with Charlotte. She's on Alexander, by the way, so she can dispel. Go ahead and break again with Aaron. That also reapplies the Fire in Peril for the Axe Stars. The boss is going to dispel the whole team this turn as well, by the way. Alright. And let's see if we can push this boss below 30%. Alright, let's go. So you go below 30%. Come on. You can do it. Oh, we definitely got it. Oh, we got it. Alright. Wow. Axe Star. Pretty good damage. Alright, there's going to be 3 deaths in a row. So we're going to Nephesite. Okay, so we're going to Nephesite the first one. The first one is going to be the Threshold death. That happens immediately, no matter what. Like, boom, here comes the Threshold death. Now he's going to do his turn 3 death. That's the Undead Curse. Okay. He can do it at some point. Or did he do it at the end of the round? Does he do it after the Dispel? Oh, that's not good if so. Oh, he might do it after the Dispel. In that case, 2 people are going to get death. Oh, there it is, there it is. And Wilhelm comes back. Okay, good. Here's the Dispel, and here's the 3rd death. Okay. Okay, we got it. We handled all 3 deaths. Perfect. Perfect. Like I said, if you're doing the fight correctly, the fight seems easy, but if one mistake happens, the whole thing falls apart. Like, this is my 5th attempt trying to get a clean video, so this has been challenging. Okay, so he did the silence, the whole team is dispelled. Fina's Phoenix Esper cured the silence, and this is why you want Fina to be able to cure it. But now, because her Phoenix Automeg cured her, we can get Wilhelm back up. Wilhelm is passively provoking, and we're going to heal the team as well. Alright, it's turn 13. What's happening this turn? This turn, there's no death this turn. We're good. Alright, so Wilhelm's back up. The team is healed. Charlotte's going to apply her Limit Burst for the mitigation. The boss has no buffs. Okay. Auron will Calamity Border for the resistance. That's a change I just made with this fight. Previously, on this turn, when this all happened, I had no way to buff resistance, and I wiped. But that's why I gave Auron Calamity Border, and that fixes that problem. So Auron can now buff our resist. Excellent. And Axe Stars will imperil the boss, imbue themselves, and we're just going to use their regular chain, their power-up chain, because we're going to... come on now. Axe Star, you're a pain. You're a pain. Alright, let's imbue, imperil, and power-up move. Alright. And hopefully next turn we can kill the boss. Okay. So this is turn 13. There's nothing bad happening this turn other than just the normal AoEs and such, which Charlotte will cover. Well, Charlotte will cover the ones that don't ignore cover. Some of them do ignore cover. Charlotte is so good. Let me just say right now, anyone who is on the fence about pulling for Charlotte when she releases on Global, I recommend you go for her. Unless there's some global exclusive magic tank that power creeps her, Charlotte is a wonderful investment. She is so good for so many trials. You have no idea. I really recommend you go for Charlotte. Alright. Now we're going to limit the Axe Stars. Let me see. Turn 14. Turn 14 is actually no death on this turn either. I'm going to intentionally not chain these because I don't want to kill the boss yet. Because I'm trying to demonstrate how to do it with all missions. So there we go. So we didn't kill the boss. How's his brakes looking? His brakes are good. Alright, we'll have Auron just refresh Calamity Border. There is no death on this turn, so we'll just guard Wilhelm. Charlotte will give us a mitigation buff. And Fina will resist all and mana regen. Oh, I should have healed. Whoops. Oh, it's not going to matter. Maybe. Oh, jeez. Did I mess this up? I did this one other attempt too. I forgot to heal, but no, it's fine this turn because this turn Charlotte's alive. The last time I did it, Charlotte had lost her cover, so we're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah, an attempt like 2 attempts ago when I messed up, I was in the same position and I didn't heal that time either. But that was after Charlotte had died because she didn't have resistance. But it's fine. Anyway, so the mission is the missions for this boss are. Deal fire and holy damage twice, no items in 30 turns or less. We're doing it in 30 turns or less. We've done fire damage a billion times with Axe Stars have been imbuing fire. We haven't used items. Phoenix's auto-medication does not count as using an item. That will not fail your mission. So now we just need to deal holy damage twice. So for that, we'll just have Fina dual cast holy. 1, 2. There we go. We've done holy damage twice. And actually, Charlotte will do holy as well. There we go. Now we're doing it 3 times just to be really sure. Okay. So remember, if you hit it with Holy, he counterattacks with Dark Element and Stop. But because we don't care, we're going to kill him right here. He can't counterattack. So there we go. So we've done all the missions in 15 turns with Axe Star. Now on Global, you can use even higher DPS. For example, we've got like Xeno and Esther, which out DPS Axe Star. I think Sabin does as well. I saw someone mention. I don't really know. Another good choice is Summer, Folka, and Citra, because as you saw, the boss had his mitigation buff up the entire fight. Because he reapplies at every threshold, and we push the threshold every time within 3 turns. So the boss literally had mitigation the entire fight. And Summer, Folka, and Citra would have ignored that, so they would have dealt double damage. But yeah. Now, if you don't have Nethicite, if you don't have Passive Provoke, if you don't have a good magic tank, those are 3 things that were really important for this strategy. It'll be more challenging. Like Wilhelm, Passive Provoke, you can use C card. C card is actually way better. With Nethicite is a good thing. Charlotte is really powerful for that fight. If you don't have Charlotte, a good choice would be to swap out Charlotte for maybe Bosch and you could drop, and you can actually have Bosch handle the breaks, and then drop Auron for Sylvie. And Sylvie with Bosch can like take turns taking care of the good breaks, while Sylvie applies mitigations and such. And you can do like Calamity Border, Cradle of Horns, etc. For the DPS, like I mentioned, Axstar is good, Xeno's good, Esther's good, Sabin is good, Summer Folka is good. If you have like older DPS like Sephiroth and Leela, they can do it, but you're going to need to just make sure you plan out those deaths. Anyway, when this trial comes to global, I'll have various example videos for how to do it with all kind of teams on global as well. See you then.